The Litchfield Hills is a place where culture and nature live side by side, a place of rolling terrain, streams and rivers and historic villages. Here are some attractions in its northwestern corner, in and around Cornwall, Kent, and Salisbury. The region first took hold of the popular imagination after the railroad arrived, as it became a destination for summer tourism and a country getaway from city life. Half a century earlier, Connecticut historian John Warner Barber sketched village-scapes little changed from their founding years before the American Revolution. The history of the region is written on the land and its many lovely buildings from colonial to Greek revival. Picturesque historic libraries in almost every town, classic houses of worship. New York architect Eric Rossiter designed 25 estate cottages in the town of Washington, most in the Queen Anne and Colonial Revival styles. Many of our villages are embellished with war memorials. The town of Sharon is famous for its clock tower, a memorial to Emily Ogden Wheeler, designed in 1885 by New York architect Charles Rich. In Cornwall Hollow is a monument to Major General John Sedgwick. A graduate of West Point and veteran of the Mexican War, he was wounded 3 times at the Battle of Antietam. He was at the battles of Chancellorsville and Gettysburg, but was killed by a sharpshooter at the Battle of Spotsylvania in 1864. Connecticut offers the most for those who enjoy tombstone tourism. Burying grounds and cemeteries in every town provide one-stop shopping for history, art, and genealogy. The Litchfield Hills was the birthplace of New England's marble industry. Gravestones are folk art. Water made Connecticut an industrial superpower and is today the source of its natural beauty. The Upper Housatonic Valley is a national heritage area and a defining feature of the region. Fishing, hiking, and boating are popular on its small lakes and streams. The region has Connecticut's largest concentration of covered bridges. Kent Falls, Mount Riga, and Macedonia state parks are among the many places for camping, hiking, swimming, and enjoying the outdoors. The falls at Mount Riga is one of Connecticut's best swimming holes. The Steep Rock Preserve Land Trust in Washington offers scenic hiking trails with vestiges of a carriage road and the sites of a resort hotel and the Chippewa Railroad, which once wound alongside the river. Bear Mountain in Salisbury is the tallest peak in Connecticut. The Undermountain Trail, 3 miles north of town off Route 41, reaches the summit and is a jumping-off point for a wide variety of hikes on and around the Appalachian Trail. The famous Appalachian Trail extends 2,200 miles from Maine to Georgia. Conceived in 1921, it took 16 years to complete. For 51 miles, it crosses the northwest corner of Connecticut, taking in destinations like Bull's Bridge, the Housatonic River Walk, Pine Knob Loop Trail, Falls Village, and Bear Mountain. The Sharon Audubon Center was founded in 1961 when Clement and K.O. Ford donated their Bog Meadow farm to the Audubon Society. It consists of 11 miles of trails and 2 ponds. The Visitor Center houses a hands-on natural history museum, store, and children's adventure center. The grounds include raptor aviaries, an herb garden, a bird and butterfly garden, and a working sugar house. Downhill skiing on Mohawk Mountain began in the 1930s. In 1947, Walt Schoenecht leased land from the state, cut trails, and installed a lift. With half a dozen rope tows, Mohawk became one of the first large ski areas in New England. In 1924, John Satra immigrated to Salisbury from Norway and soon founded the Salisbury Winter Sports Association. Its first ski jumping competition attracted over 200 spectators. It has been the site of National Eastern Ski Jumping Championships on its 65-meter hill. The 1.5-mile Lime Rock track was built in 1956 utilizing state-of-the-art safety principles. Lime Rock Park is a gorgeous, fan-friendly venue where many of the giants in sports car racing have appeared. The region captured the imagination of the first generation of American Impressionists. Antique shops and museums with locally made art and antiques abound. The Litchfield Hills is favored by artists and galleries, some going back a century to the era when the area first attracted artistic attention. Open to the public, the Tremaine Gallery in Lakeville is a museum-quality exhibition space located in the main building of the Hotchkiss School. The gallery hosts 6 shows a year, encompassing a wide range of artists, media, and styles. Farms, farm stands, and agritourism abound in the Litchfield Hills. Discover Freund's Farm Market and Bakery in East Canaan, and since 1746 in Washington, Connecticut, Averill Farm, known for its 100-plus varieties of apples and pears. The region boasts dozens of owner-operated independent retail shops, often housed in historic buildings. In New Preston, Connecticut, Hopkins Vineyard was born when Bill and Judith Hopkins transformed their dairy farm into a vineyard, one of the first in what has become a thriving Connecticut industry. They consistently produce award-winning whites, reds, and sparkling wines while growing 11 varieties of grapes in a spectacular setting overlooking Lake Mohawk. The Amesville History Trail in Falls Village explores the most dramatic waterfall on the Housatonic River and one of the most important early industrial sites in Connecticut. Using high-quality iron ore from the region, Ames Iron Works made cannon, shovels, axles, rails, and couplers for railroads, stoves, and other products. At its peak, 800 men worked around the clock. The Beckley Furnace Industrial Monument in East Canaan preserves and presents a blast furnace, waterfall, turbines, slag heaps, and more associated with the early iron industry. The Kent Historical Society was founded in 1954 to discover, preserve, and restore material related to Kent. In 1978, noted New York artist George Lawrence Nelson donated 7 hearths, his 18th century house, studio, and collection, which is now the Society's flagship property. The Society provides service to town grammar schools and does active programming with lecture series, annual exhibits, publications, and more. The Connecticut Antique Machinery Association is a museum dedicated to the preservation, restoration, and demonstration of machinery from our rich industrial and agricultural past on an 8-acre museum campus in Kent. The experience includes engines, steam power, and narrow-gauge railroad, a museum of mining and minerals, a sawmill, blacksmith shop, and more. The Connecticut Museum of Minerals and Mining explores the state's pioneering role in the development of the iron industry in the U.S. The Litchfield Hills are dotted with the ghosts of the iron industry. The museum includes the largest display of Connecticut minerals in the state. Connecticut's complex geology included significant iron ore deposits, copper ore, garnets, marble, basalt, and brownstone. Displays also explore building materials including bricks, brownstone, and marble. Native Americans used Connecticut's geology to make hunting and food preparation tools. The Art Sloan Museum in Kent tells the story of a prolific artist, author, and collector of Americana. Sloan's career comes alive in his minutely recreated studio. The museum features art by Sloan and houses his extensive collection of early American tools. Sloan sparked a revival of interest in colonial crafts. The Sharon Historical Society, located in the Gay White House, collects, preserves, and shares Sharon's stories by developing programs and exhibitions inspired by an extensive archive and object collection. The Salisbury Association Historical Society preserves and celebrates the town's history by collecting and presenting photographs, archives, and artifacts in the historic 1833 Academy Building. The American Indian Studies Museum in Washington was founded in 1975 with a strong emphasis on archaeology. Nestled on 15 acres of woodlands and trails, it features state-of-the-art museum displays, a replicated 16th century Algonquian village, self-guided trails, and in-depth programs for students of all ages. The Gun Historical Museum has been collecting and sharing the history of Washington since 1899. Its permanent collection and award-winning changing exhibitions are first class. It hosts cemetery tours, services to schools, a local history club, and adult public programming in a jewel of a historic district. Cornwall Historical Society is housed in an 1885 barn decorated with gingerbread and a big cupola and weather vane. In 2010, the Society renovated the building to create museum-quality exhibition gallery. since then they've hosted exhibitions on the Foreign Mission School and bringing national stories like women's rights, forestry, dairy farming, and the Civil War home. In the Litchfield Hills, the journey is half the fun. Explore, poke around, and if you want to visit our museums, search by name on the internet. They all have websites and regularly posted hours. Enjoy your visit.